Hello, everyone. Welcome to William in the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Paladin. Paladin is from Dallas, in Texas, in the USA. So let's see what Paladin has to say. Enjoy the interview.
Hey there, how's it going?
Hello, everyone. Very well. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty well, pretty well. Just been doing things here at home, working on D&D stuff. And yourself? How's the UK?
It's been warm actually. We are in the fall now, the autumn, and actually it's quite warm. I don't know what's happening, but I think during this time of the year, the change. Some
Course.
days get a bit warm. I mean, warmish, not like warm, hot, but just warmish.
Yeah,
So yeah, but it's been cool. It's been a good day.
that's good. That's good. I'm glad you're having a good day.
Yes. How about yours?
It's going pretty well. Right now I'm like working on, well, I work as a nurse normally, and specifically in neuroscience, and so I like educate in neuroscience at the university sometimes. But when I'm not doing that, actually most of the time I'm actually doing Dungeons and Dragons stuff, and so I actually like do Dungeons and Dragons professionally,
I see.
and as a dungeon master. And right now I'm like running two campaigns on Twitch, and also organizing, doing like a world record break for December for a session that's going to last 600 hours. And so there's a lot of logistics trying to
Wow.
get that together between 10 people, and yeah, there's a lot to set up. So that's why whenever I missed your messages yesterday, it's because I was in the middle of so many meetings, so many things. I do apologize about missing that yesterday.
What's a problem? So tell me a little bit about this journey in your life, this exciting journey, how everything started.
How everything started? Oh gosh. You mean just in general, like, or specifically for D&D, or?
For your dungeons, now you said that you've been working on it.
Yeah, so let's see. I started DMing. It's been 10, almost 11 years come January.
Mm-hmm.
Back whenever 5th edition had first came out for Dungeons and Dragons. And I've done most of it online, like 99% of it. And I didn't start doing it professionally up until like about half a year ago. But
Mm-hmm.
even before then, I mean, I had played with so many different people from like all over the world. And it's nice, like having to meet all these different people that you otherwise don't get a chance to meet, in a normal setting. So it's like different people from different countries and different professions, just coming together once a week to have fun and play a game, and bonding over that and just having a good time, and I really enjoy that aspect of it.
So mainly it's a game that people play around the world.
Yeah, so what you do is that you have, it's called a pen and paper game, and so you can play it with pen and paper and also some dice. And the dice, they come in different sides. There's like 6-sided dice, 4-sided, 10, 8, 12, 20-sided dice, 100-sided dice even. And people roll these dice to like factor in a game of chance in a world about adventure, fighting different monsters and getting loot, and playing in a story with one person, the dungeon master being the person that makes that story and plays all the NPCs or non-playable characters and monsters. And then there's 4 players that they have their own character that they stick with, playing in this world and interacting with it and choosing what to do. And then together everyone forms a story of like what's happening, and they could succeed, they could fail. It really just depends on what the characters decide to do and how the numbers roll out and with their various abilities and skills. So it's really cool.
Wow, exciting, very exciting. My goodness. Wow. Paladin, so tell me where you're from.
So I'm from Dallas, Texas. I've been here most of my life. I was born in Chicago, and moved down here with my parents when I was 10. I mean, I've traveled around as well. I've been in the Marine Corps, and I've been in the Marines for 4 years as a musician playing the saxophone. So I've
Wow.
lived in Hawaii, and I traveled around the Pacific over there for quite a little bit. Did a lot of performance with them. But for the most part, I've been here in Dallas.
And what's the best part of living in Dallas?
Oh gosh, that's there's so many people here. I think like 500,000 or so people here. And there's so many things to do as well. I mean, like there's like a roller coaster park here called Six Flags. There's like, I mean, there's so many things. But the one thing that I do enjoy is that there are so many people that you can interact with from different types of kind of like cultures in a sense. It's like kind of like a melting pot almost. Maybe not as much as Austin, Texas. It's a little bit more business here.
Mhm.
But there are many different types of people here that I do enjoy interacting with.
I see. And you're saying as well that you are a nurse.
Right. Yes.
So tell me a little bit about your career.
Well, my nursing career is kind of cut and dry. So how that started is that, well, when I was a little kid, I grew up I was an incredibly intelligent kid. I had the option to go to college when I was 12 years old, and my parents wouldn't let me.
Wow.
But I was like, okay, so I just went it normal. And since I was a kid, I knew that I had this, I was a little bit different than the other children in terms of like learning and retaining just raw information. And so I always wanted to like utilize that to help people as much as possible. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to be a doctor. Well, I don't exactly come from a very wealthy family. So I had to try to build my way there. And so that's when, after I graduated from high school, I went into the Marine Corps. And from there, I realized the GI Bill, with it only being 4 years, wasn't enough for me to get me through medical school, which is a very long process. I would have been like halfway through with nothing to support myself with, and still needing to like continue on, and not even sure if I would make it all the way through. So I went into nursing instead, just to kind of give myself a good base. And I'm really glad that I did go into nursing. There's so many things that I would not have realized otherwise if I had just gone into medicine, because nursing is they're there at the bedside. But when I started out, I've been a nurse for going on 4 years now.
Mhm.
And I didn't really know where I wanted to go with it. I mean, I always had the idea of like, okay, I'm going to go into medical school. But after being in that field, I kind of don't really want to do that anymore. I realized I'm okay with nursing and helping people in other ways, such as with the D&D stuff. But anyway, since I've been a nurse, I've gotten 2 certifications. I got my certifications in stroke and neuroscience, and certifications they're like things that nurses can get to show that you have expertise or proven knowledge in a specific field. And so the neuroscience one is extremely hard to get. It's actually the hardest certification to get as a nurse, because the book it's absolutely massive for the entire neurological system, brain, spine, all the nerves. And so so it was about 8 months of constant study for me to even prepare for the test. And when I went in to take the test, I wasn't even sure I was going to pass, because it was that hard, of like so much content to just like retaining your brain and just go with it. And like it was a 6-hour test too, so it was very long examination. But I did it. And with that, I'm also on the American Neuroscience Board of Neuroscience Nurses. And what I do is that I'm on a test development committee where I work with other people across the country to develop tests for the certification, and also like help choose content for the exam and for the books. So I'm very involved with neuroscience. And so I do appreciate the complexity of it. And yeah, I mean, it's also a very hard job. I mean, like, neuroscience aside, I mean, the connection with the people and forming like a bond with them and being there when they need someone, just to listen to them or just to help them, is like, there's nothing that can replace that. That's a really valuable experience to have. Yeah,
For sure. Paladin, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your point of views?
sure. Yeah.
Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So this is my best friend. Full of random fun questions.
Okay.
I'm just gonna play a song now, just for us to move a little bit before the
Sure.
first question. Let's do
Okay.
it.
I love it.
So before we start the game, if there is a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Okay.
First question for you is, what is one movie you could watch over and over again?
Oh, a movie. Oh gosh. I actually don't really watch many movies at all. I'm one of those people that prefers to read books, or just spend it. So I haven't really watched a movie in actually several years. So I'm sorry. I just prefer to do other things. Like I literally have like an immense amount of textbooks over here, on my wall, and I just prefer to like look through those or do other stuff. But yeah, I haven't really watched. I'm not really a movie person.
So tell me one book that's the latest one that you've been reading right now.
Oh gosh, latest one. Okay, so the latest book that I am reading is actually like a book from the Dragonlance setting, because I'm trying to learn more about settings and also like how people create their the world so that I can create my own. So yeah, it's more like a research study, just like see how people are formulating their fantasy series, and also like why it's so popular. Like, why in the 1980s, why was this book so popular with so many people? Like, what is it all discussion that they were having with them back then that made this just go forward so that I can learn from that? So yeah.
Next question, let's do it.
Okay.
Next question for you is, what makes you really sentimental?
Oh, there's so many things. Okay, well, I mean, I think I'm a very emotionally driven person. But the thing that really brings me to tears most times is whenever someone is going through like an extremely hard time, and it's just from a lot of external factors, and they're just being kicked down, like by the entire everything that's going on around them, and people are also like kicking them down further. And them coming through that and out of that still maintaining some form of positivity, and building and not having other people tear them down. It's hard. Like, it's hard whenever you're in a place of extreme desperation and things just don't seem good, to sometimes like hold on to that little bit of yourself just to keep pushing through. And so it's really nice to see when people can do that and have the strength to do that. Or even if they don't, like when other people come in and do help them come out of those situations, whether, it's just like, just takes a couple of words, a couple of nice words just to help people or encourage them to do the things that they, that they can do. But that's, yeah, I mean, the world's kind of a really hard place, and it doesn't take that much to just reach out to other people and just be there for them and just say kind words. I mean, there's just too much bad stuff in the world. So yeah, I'm starting to get really teary now, but those are the things that I like. I think it just comes from a lot of empathy. I mean, I've been kicked down a lot through my life. Things going on with my parents or the Marine Corps, and so many other things. But and there were times where the only person that was there was me. Like, no one else was there for me. And it could be really hard for a person to be there for themselves if they have a really negative inner monologue and they're just tearing themselves down, and they're setting themselves with like self-fulfilling prophecies for failure. And it can be really hard to break out of that sometimes if you don't have like the proper guidance or even like the proper love and care for yourself to just get through it and just continue on to the next day. So those are the things that really like get to me a lot, seeing people struggle and then coming out of that struggle.
I see. Yeah, I think sometimes when we are in a place where you are not very happy, somehow we can deal with. But seeing someone vulnerable, like not in a good place, sometimes or most of the time, is a heartbreaking, because it's hard. Sometimes you see a lot of those people around, and you don't know. Sometimes you don't know how to help them. I totally understand your point.
Yeah.
Next question. Let's do it. Hey, Paladin, next question for you is, do you have a unique ability that you think no one has or you never met before?
Oh gosh. Okay, I do have a few. So I have the ability to read an entire textbook from front to back, and I can recall like 70% of it like a year or even 2 years later. I can only have to read it once. And so when I read through this information, and then like for example, like we're working on here, and I'll show you. We're working on the Dungeon of the Mad Mage for this group thing, right? And I might have it around here somewhere. Maybe I don't. But basically, it's a book like this, right? And I read it like about a year ago, and they're asking questions, and I'm like, oh yeah, in room number 23 in this specific floor with this specific monster, and these are the things that are in the room. And it's just like, how do you remember? I'm like, I have no idea. It just sticks,
Wow.
and it's just there. But it's a blessing and a curse. There's some things that I wish I would just could forget, but I don't get to choose what sticks in my brain. But yeah, it's nice to have good recall. It's not picture perfect. Another thing that I have is I have synesthesia. So whenever I play the saxophone, I can actually see colors when I play the saxophone. It's weird, like different notes have different colors that I can see. But I don't like see it visually, but it comes up in my head. And it made memorizing music really easy because all I have to think like, oh, what was the color pattern for this specific song when I played it, and that's how I would memorize music. So but yeah.
Wow, that's very interesting for sure. My goodness. And how old were you when you realized this unique ability that you have?
With the synesthesia, I realized I had it when I was 13, when I was playing the saxophone. And then the reading stuff, I was reading as soon as like 2 years old. So I don't know when exactly I knew I had amazing recall. I think it happened more like in grade school when I realized like other kids weren't able to remember. Like it took them a lot of like reiterations of looking at the same material, and I was like, okay, like I don't know about if I'm just weird or if this is a common thing. But as I grew older, I realized, oh yeah, that is very different. So
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
Nice one. I like it. Next question. Right before the next question, tell me, did your family always support you through your career as a nurse?
Specifically as a nurse, I think they have. I mean, whenever I got out of the Marine Corps, I was here living with my parents, and I didn't have a job, so all I had to do was go to school and come home and study. So yeah, they've been extremely supportive with that. They've been there when I've asked them that I needed help. And yeah, I mean, I'm very grateful for them supporting me, like getting to where I am now, because I definitely cannot have gotten here by myself at all. I mean, I needed to have gone through like different, teachers, mentors. I mean, of course, my parents that helped groom me up, and everyone else along the way. So I definitely am very mindful that I'm not here where I am talking with you by my own hand. If anything, it's through many other people that have helped support me, get me to the person that I am right now.
Very good. Next question is, how would you describe a perfect, healthy relationship?
A perfect, healthy relationship. Oh my God. I don't know about perfect, but a healthy relationship, yes. My longest relationship has been 8 years. And we still talk actually. I met him whenever I started doing D&D and in a campaign back when I was like 20, 21, 22. And we ended up getting engaged, but we broke it off for various reasons. But I think that there was a lot to learn through that. I mean, 8 years is definitely a long time, and I'm gay, so like in the gay community, it's kind of hard to maintain relationships and have them last for a while. But the biggest thing is that communication. I mean, with any relationship, it always does boil down to communication, to communicate what you're feeling, and also like if something does happen, not to get stuck on the situation, but looking at it, analyzing them, like, okay, well, here we are, like, what are we gonna do to either go forward from this, or can we, or is there anything to be fixed, or like, like what is it that's really bothering us, like about it, like, acknowledge each other's feelings and go forward from there. Also being supportive and there for each other whenever whenever you do need support, and being engaged and interested in who they are as a person, and also a lot of like compromise too. I mean, it's having to be with someone, especially for a long time, like after that honeymoon phase, like what's really going to be keeping you together, like when the flaws start coming out, whenever you start having these problems, like whenever you start having these different fights and disagreements, like is it going to tear apart? Is it going to fall apart? Or is there something that's going to hold you together, especially when you're like maybe not having an exactly great moment with each other. And so like being able to like approach each other and talk about those situations and then come out of it knowing like, okay, I still love this person, like I still want to be with them, and that, you know, that there's, and that they're very supportive, and that really we just need to get past this and find out what we got to do. So, and everyone's different. I mean, everyone has their unique nuances to form to, and of course the things that they're interested in and what they do for a living. And yeah, I mean, it's hard sometimes. I mean, you know, like you to find something that's perfect is not ever gonna happen. To find someone that's gonna be there for you long term and that you generally do care for and can mold, you know, to each other's differences and characteristics and abilities and whatnot. That's really the most common or the most preferable form of like trying to like, you know, love someone truly. So yeah.
I think relationship, it's a maintenance every single day. I think there's, as you said, there's always new challenges will come, you know what I mean, through the journey, and you just need to be able to talk about, communicate yourself, because you are sharing a life with someone that you trust. So the best way is about talking, even if there is some topics that maybe you feel uncomfortable talk about, but the person by your side is the person who is the best person to deal with that and to support you as well. So I understand. And also, when you mentioned about a long relationship, I think even if it didn't work out, actually it did work out for so many years, you know what I mean? And if you couldn't give the next step, I don't see that as an ending, but it was a part of the process, and the relationship is going to be there anyway all the time. And when you think about the good memories and the bond and the relationship that you created together, so that's something that's going to be forever in our lives. So you always need to be mature. You understand. I know sometimes not easy, depending on the circumstances and how things didn't go the way both wanted. But in the end of the day, it's a story, and it's gonna be there all the time. We cannot erase it. It's gonna be there. So I think sometimes it's better to keep it the good memories and the good path as well.
That's extremely true. Yeah, and we still talk. I mean, we played video games like just yesterday. It's just you know, getting married was just not something that we saw eye to eye, nor, which is fine, you know. But at least we were able to talk about it, and you know, we still care about each other. But we're just gonna go like slightly different paths, but you know, still maintain that contact, because like you said, it's gonna be there forever.
Absolutely,
yeah, it's not going away.
And sometimes maybe if you gave this next step about the wedding, maybe you guys wouldn't enjoy anymore, and it would end in a challenging way. So why not to be mature and to just leave things to go with the flow? And I think that's what I believe as well.
I agree.
Ready for another one?
Yes.
Let's do it. Next question for you is, what's your morning ritual?
Oh, my morning ritual. Okay. So I normally work nights, so I don't really wake up in the morning. It's more like eating. But regardless, let's see. When I get up, I of course take my medication. I do all my hygiene stuff. I go out and I'm actually training for a triathlon, so I have to like do some sort of cardio in the morning, swimming, cycling, running, getting ready for the work day, whether that's nursing or just sitting here at the computer working on maps. I look to see what meetings or schedules I gotta do for the day. So if I have to meet with so many people, just sending a quick reminder to those people like, hey, are we still good for this time? I feed my dogs, I play with my dogs, I make my food for the day, just getting everything set up so that way I can be successful from the get-go.
Very good, very good. 3 questions left for you. Okay. Let's do it. Next question for you is, what does family mean to you?
Family. Okay. It's kind of a little bit of a mixed bag for me. Because family, yes, I know we talked about my parents. They've been supportive, and they've been there. But for the most part, they have been very almost like socially absent in a sense. Um, there has been a lot of abuse. So in terms of family, extended family, I mean, it's like non-existent. And then my actual family here, I mean, we're all very different. We're all different. They were surprised that I exist because the difference in um being intellectual is very off. Like my dad dropped out of school when he was 10 years old, and my mom around about the same too. So there's a lot that they don't understand about me, and that I also don't really understand about them, and it's really hard to talk some days, um, because any sort of like disagreement just evolves into like them, like a bunch of anger and yelling. Not for me, but it does make it hard to communicate with someone or form a relationship whenever any type of approachment is just going to end in an argument. So yeah, I don't really have a great experience with blood family. I'm of the belief that blood is thicker than water. The blood of the womb is thicker than the water. No, sorry, the water of the womb is thicker than the blood of the covenant. Or maybe I got it backwards. Basically, it's the opposite of what people think it means. It means that the bonds that you choose are always going to be stronger than the ones that you're born with. So, grass is only going to grow where you water it, right? Is the other way of saying it. So I think family is what you make it. I mean, of course, my parents are always going to be my parents. That's never going to change. But the relationships that I choose to have will, and whether or not that's going to include them. I mean, I'm still here, so I mean, we've gotten through some of it. But there's other family members that I definitely could care less to have around, and it's unfortunate because I would love to have this great loving family that other people do, and I just don't have that opportunity. So, and that's just life. Some people are gonna have more or less opportunities than others. It's just a matter of, well, what are you gonna do with it? Are you gonna sit there and complain and yell and cry, or are you just gonna accept it and think like, okay, well, now what? Like it's not gonna change no matter how much I might scream or yell, right? But I can form around that situation to try to do the best with what I'm given. So
For sure, I think family is the one that life gives to you somehow. People who comes to you and cross our paths and we feel connected with. I think, it's just like a feeling, how you feel towards someone. That's how you can call your family. That's what I believe. It's a genuine bond that's happened between people. That's my thing about family as well. 2 questions left for you, Paladin. Let's do it.
Okay.
Before the next one, tell me, how is being gay in Dallas? Do you feel safe? It's a good place to be gay?
Well, let me see. I feel comfortable being gay here. I've lived here most of my life. I've been to other cities. Of course, I've traveled around on the Pacific side. I've never lived in other other cities that are big and also gay, like Fort Lauderdale, New York, etc. But in terms of how it is here, I mean, it's Texas. So there are a lot of conservative values or people that do kind of impede on some of the culture here, whether it's hate or outright just negative speech, violence at times. But beyond that, the community itself, right? Just the gay community itself. I think, and I might be biased, I think it's really good here. I mean, people here, there's a lot of people in Dallas Fort Worth. So you get all different kinds of tastes and kinds of people. But for the most part, I mean, it's got its own little gayborhood, Oaklawn and Cedar Springs. And I've hung out with many of the different groups that are here before. Like there's several gamer groups here that I've rolled with for a bit. And Yeah, everyone is really nice and genuine. Well, not everyone, but for the most part, it's a very good community here, and there's a lot of support within the community as well, which I'm really, really thankful of. Of course, there's always going to be the underside and the negativity with and people, just in general. Is it specific just to the gay community here in Dallas? I wouldn't say so, but I think for the most part, being gay in Dallas Fort Worth is okay. Though I think it's more central to Dallas. I mean, here where I live, I say Dallas, but it's actually Arlington, which is between Dallas and Fort Worth. Um, Being gay here in the city that I actually live is actually not that great. They even had like a massive protest at the city hall against having a gay pride in Arlington. So that was a thing that happened, but I don't really pay much attention to that. Dallas itself is very liberal. And then the other cities in Texas, Austin is of course the most liberal, which is it's actually really nice over there too. Houston, San Antonio are also pretty good. But I think like Dallas would be second to Austin in terms of like just like how many gay people there are and how accepting it is and the culture itself. So yeah, I mean I think it's okay. And I think there's plenty of other cities that do it better than Texas. Yeah. In terms of like the non-gay community. So and how they perceive and interact with the gay community. So it's disheartening, you know. I wish that people were a little bit more loving and accepting of just in general. I mean, not necessarily with just gay people, but just in general. And I think with Texas being a red state and what they do, it's a little sad at times.
See.
Yeah.
All right. Next question is, what is the soundtrack of your life and why you consider that?
Soundtrack of my life. Oh man. So there's a lot of different music that I listen to. For the most part, I listen to a lot of fantasy music from like video games, but I really love listening to the Elder Scrolls music, especially from Skyrim, like the relaxing music and the ambience in the background. It's just very, when I listen to it, I feel very calm and at ease, and I feel like I can be in the moment. It's a lot of long, drawn out chords that are played. And there's a specific song, I wouldn't be able to tell you what it is. It's just when I hear it, I know what it is, but when I hear it, I feel like, wow, like if I were to like to fall asleep, this would be like the song that I would want to be playing for like the rest of my life if I were to like die or like go into the afterlife, like because it's so nice and soothing. And yeah, I mean, I think why that playlist, you know, I'm not sure why. I never really thought about too deeply why it vibes to my core to have such a just a very relaxed soundtrack from a video game. I mean, Skyrim itself is a fantasy game, like D&D. I mean, it's got dragons, got different type of characters and magic and stuff. But the music itself is really wonderful. I mean, it doesn't have like these really big tremolos or melodies that are like going over each other like some other games. But whenever I want to just relax or chill or just you know, listen to music, I just put on Elder Scrolls. So
amazing, very good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ready for the last question?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Last question. But before the last question, tell me, people watching the interview right now, would you like to start a career as a nurse? What would be your best piece of advice?
Oh, as a nurse. Okay, so the best advice I can give people that are going to go into nursing, or really just any career, is to just say the first job that you get into is not necessarily going to be the one that you're going to be with long term. Put yourself first. You're not replaceable at home or at all. You know, you're the only iteration of yourself that's ever going to exist. And to give yourself room and credibility to fail safely. You don't want to hurt other people and having to make mistakes. But if you do make mistakes, own up to it and learn from it and move on, and don't make excuses. Don't get caught up in the negativity of it. Learn from it, and also to be able to take criticism in a positive way. Sometimes people generally just really are telling you things so that way they can improve you. But with some people, there's some like the hesitation to receive their criticism, or like they react negatively to it. They take it very personal, rather than be like, okay, like I realized I did this thing wrong, or like maybe they do have some credibility in telling me this. How can I change, or how can I take that to improve myself? And that's something that some people struggle with as well, that I've seen happen more often than not. Being able to have that critical conversation and accept it and come out of it, feeling okay with yourself. But those are a lot of life skills that just carry across, not just nursing, but anything really. Are you coachable? Are you able to be a mentor? Are you able to help other people? Are you not? Why not? How much are you willing to put in to improve yourself and go forward? Is it some? Is it nothing? Are you wanting to do that? You don't have to always move forward or try to go to the next step to be okay with where you're at. Sometimes being just a bedside nurse and not wanting to be charge nurse or even like a manager is okay. Like you don't have to want to have those things in order to be content or happy with where you are, which really is just what you make it in the moment, right? Like me getting that promotion, am I going to be happier because I got it? And if it is because of that role, why am I not happy now? Is it really just the role, or are there other things going on within myself to prevent that? And I can keep going and going and going and going, but yeah, I think I more than answered the question with that.
For sure. Last question for you is, what's your ideal life look like?
Ideal life? Oh gosh. Okay, so what I want to do is really, like, after doing like Dungeons and Dragons professionally, I want to have my own room with so many bookshelves, because I got so many books. I have to have them stacked on the floor now because I got too many. I want to have all these bookshelves that I could put all my books in, with a book wheel, which is like a wheel that you can put your books on. And you spin it around, and you can like open it, the books, like certain pages when you need to reference things. And having like a giant desk with many different types of paper and like different sort of fountain pens that I can write notes on, and having my different figurines and stuff, and also like having a setup for whenever I do go live on the internet for playing D&D with other people. So I definitely would want that. But in addition to that, having a house that I can have a yard for my dogs to like run around in, and like having an open space to have friends over to play games, and being in an area where it's really easy to connect or go out with other people. Where like there might be like a lot going on. Ideally, actually, I want to move to Germany to do all this. So being in a place where you're going to be supported by your country socially, and being around people that are kind of similar to you that you can connect with, and and I really like Germany a lot. So I'm moving towards going over there eventually, but just currently, I'm here. At home, just saving up money for that right moment to move over. So there's a goal in mind. It just might be a few years.
Amazing, and to happen for sure. Okay, Paladin, it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking, okay?
Okay.
So, I hope you are enjoying the interview. Before we do the word association game, don't forget to give a like, don't forget to share this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click on the button right there. Thank you so much, and enjoy the word association game. One word for life.
Death.
One word for money.
Gains.
Family.
Not really there.
Okay. One word for love.
Intense.
Sex.
Also intense.
Politics.
Not a favorite.
Religion.
Hopeful.
Fear.
Barriers.
Friendship.
Supportive.
desire,
wants,
regret,
few things,
success,
trying,
wish,
wish. I can't think of anything for wish. I'll pass on that. Pass on that one.
no
I don't have one
problem,
for that one.
happiness.
Sadness.
One word for Dallas.
One word for Dallas, he said?
Yeah.
Metropolis.
One word for Texas.
Huge.
How about USA?
Conflicted.
One word for nurse.
Tiring.
And one word for Dungeons and Dragons.
It's amazing.
Cool. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your best friend for a coffee, and I'm going to ask your best friend, define Paladin in one positive word and one negative word. What your best friend would say?
It would probably be the same word. And that would be very passionate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That can get in the way sometimes.
I understand.
Yeah.
Let's play now Paladin and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. But before that, play the music one more time. Let's do it. Okay, you can ask me a question now.
Just ask you any question?
Yeah, any question.
Okay. So what was your whole, like, how did you come up with this concept of meeting with people and having these conversations? I think I just added you on Facebook, and then we just started talking, like, and now here we are. So I'm just curious, like, how it came about, like, what was the whole journey like from beginning to end? Like, how did you even think of that, and like how many years? I'm just curious on like the background and the history of all of this and how that relates to you as a person.
Absolutely. Good question. In 2020, when the world went upside down regarding the COVID crisis, I wanted to do something creative, something that I could connect with the people around the world. And I didn't know what to do. So I wanted to do a project on YouTube. The first idea was something with music, but it was difficult because I don't have the copyrights to use other people's music on the show. Anyway, so I started to think about what's something that I could do, something that I could be myself, something that I could connect with people. And suddenly, this idea just came along. I went for a run in the park, and this idea came along, and I was like, oh my God, that's something that I'm going to do. I'm going to create questions. I'm going to ask questions people around the world, and to see how they live their lives, to see how they express themselves, to see their point of views. I believe that everyone has a story to tell. And also, the whole thing of the show is they are not right or wrong. It's just your point of view. You know what I mean? I think all of us, we have different opinions, and it's fine. I think all of us, we have our point of views. And saying that, this interaction that I'm doing now, like asking questions, I've done that through my life as a teenager. I remember traveling around with friends, and I was always going like, oh, tell me something interesting about your hometown. Who was your favorite teacher? So this kind of interaction I've always been doing it. And yeah, that's the whole magic of the show. It's about connecting with people, letting people be themselves, and also let them connect with other people as well. So this idea just came along from a very genuine place, and something that I could be myself. And during the show here, when I'm connecting now with my guests, I'm literally myself. I even forget about the time. I forget about I'm recording. I just get myself here in a moment where my guest is sharing their experiences, and also connect with other people as well. So yeah, so that's the whole magic of the show.
That's really nice. That's actually a really nice thing to do, like to meet out and to talk with people. That's very nice. I appreciate that a lot.
Thank you so much, Paladin, for taking the time. Thanks for being kind and sweet, and for opening your heart as well, your opinions. And I think nowadays, when you talk about things, sometimes or most of the time we are helping people as well. Because for sure, people watch this interview, they might have gone through the same situation as you, as a positive or negative situation. And that's what life is about, for us to see out there other people as well, that you're not alone. There's always someone going through the same situation that you've been before, or positive or negative. And that's what life is about. It's about connect with people and let them be themselves. So thanks so much for being so open and to be participate of the show as well. Thanks so much.
Yeah, and thank you for meeting with me.
But before you go, if you can
Sure.
share a positive message, something that you live by.
A positive message that I live by. So be there for yourself every single little day, at every moment. Forgive yourself for the small stuff and the big stuff. Pause and think before you do things as well. The first thing you think isn't always the most correct. And also know when to reach out and who to reach out to.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for your time. Thanks for being part of the show, and we keep in touch. It was a pleasure. Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for your time.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.